Something very strange is happening right now, and people need to pay attention to it. The US government are doing something they haven't done in over 20 years. I'm going to break down what they're doing, why it matters, and what it means for Bitcoin. A few days ago, the US Treasury repurchased $10 billion of its own debt in a single day. It's part of a program called Treasury buybacks. They haven't done this regularly since the early 2000s, but in 2024, they started again, and it's now ramping up fast. But what does this mean? In simple terms, they're paying off some of their debt early. It actually sounds pretty irresponsible, a little bit of financial housekeeping. But remember, the US runs a huge deficit. They don't have the money to do this, so they're actually borrowing more money to pay off old debts. Now hold on, that might also be quite smart. If they're refinancing at lower rates, they'll be saving themselves some money. But 78% of the debt they're buying back had a lower interest rate than the new debt they're issuing. Let that sink in. They are deliberately refinancing at a higher rate. So the question is, why would they do this? One reason, something called yield curve control. They are trying to artificially create demand for long-term US treasuries by buying them themselves. It's market manipulation, plain and simple. And here's why they're being forced to do this. Demand for long-term US treasuries is dying. Foreign buyers are backing off. That has pushed yields up and made borrowing very expensive. And remember, rising yields equals falling prices. Existing bondholders are losing money and they have no incentive to buy more. So they're trying to force yields down and stabilize prices. It's a dangerous game. If investors believe the US is propping up its own bond market, confidence collapses. And if confidence in US treasuries disappears, the entire system starts to unravel. And here's what it means for Bitcoin. Artificially low yields are very inflationary. All of this leads towards a weaker dollar and more liquidity. And in times like that, money flows into scarce assets like Bitcoin. I don't like to measure Bitcoin in fiat, but what I will say is I expect the purchasing power of Bitcoin to rise dramatically. If you found this breakdown interesting and want to learn more about this kind of stuff, hit the follow button.